She has got plenty to smile about, with the New York Times breaking the news today that Bill Gates has gifted her $50 million. Now, this is a strange move from Gates, given he's avoided giving massive political donations throughout his prolific career. As you know, he's one of the richest men in the world. He's quoted back in 2019 as saying, "I choose not to participate in large political donations. There are times it might feel tempting to do so, and there are other people who choose to do so, but I just don't want to grab that gigantic microphone." Well, what's changed, Bill Gates? What's changed, we all ask? Now, it's only a hypothesis, but I believe Elon Musk hit the nail on the head when he said this.
Why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
They're all quivering in their boots because the Trump campaign has indeed alluded to the fact that they will release the client Epstein list. Just today on Theo Von's podcast, VP pick for the Trump campaign, Vance literally said, "Oh, we gotta get that Epstein client list released." And we don't know who's on it, but we know it's a lot of rich and powerful people. And we do know that this is information that the FBI, the CIA have and have refused to release. Why would you do that when there are a list of, obviously, the vilest criminals and also some of the most powerful people in the world?
Well, we do know that a lot of the names on that list will appear in Kamala Harris's plagiarised speech about the human trafficking helpline. I think that is,
and that'll be the defence when the list comes out. Oh, it was plagiarised. It was plagiarised.
I'm not sure how conspiratorial that is, but it is interesting that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation obviously are hugely philanthropic enterprises. They donate to anything with a heartbeat. I think they've donated something in the order of, and I might be making this up, I think $10 billion to fighting malaria.
As you should, if you got that much money.
Well, exactly.
I mean, they couldn't spend it in lifetimes.
I think that's great, but it's a fair. If you if you give money to absolutely everything that moves, but on a matter of principle have refused your entire life to give any money to any political candidate, and then suddenly you're dumping a cool 50 mil on Kamala with a week to go before polling day.
Of course.
And
you see, and the thing as well, for people like Gates and a lot of other people in the left-wing establishment in the US, Trump being elected for a second term, which of course would be his last term as president, so he's got nothing to lose after this. This is it. If he gets this shot, this is his last shot to do what he wants to do, right? And so many people in the left-wing establishment in the US would be so scared of Donald Trump having that opportunity because he might just cut them off. He might just do things that don't advantage them. And when you're someone who's been able to make a shed load of money out of a place like the United States, and, you're basically allowed to say and do whatever the hell you want, you give money here, money there, everyone thinks you're their friend. Donald Trump comes along and says, well, actually, I'm not your friend. That is a huge threat to who you are and how you're allowed to operate, right? Like, they would be scared of that, extremely scared.
And also the fact that, much like our US ambassadors sort of recently deleted tweets, but that you had an establishment that not only refused to acknowledge Trump's legitimacy the first time he was president and tried to overturn his decisions in the Supreme Court, which they have a right to do, or say, hashtag not my president. I mean, obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing the hashtag not my Kamala. But since then, they were so smug after 2020. And again, I was someone who wanted Joe Biden to win, reluctantly, but I did want him to win.
Do you regret that now?
No,
the country's burning and you're like, I stand by.
I regret the fact that the Democrats so profoundly, and the American elite left establishment as well, failed to learn any lessons from how Donald Trump got elected in the first place. And instead of being incredibly careful to make sure that wasn't repeated, for example, by nurturing actual, good, strong mainstream talent in the party that had strong connections to middle America, instead of these wanky East and West Coast, upper middle class elites, which Kamala is the pin-up girl for. They completely failed to do that. They had no other candidate ready to go, no one who would tap Joe Biden on the shoulder in time for another candidate to go through a primary process and actually get blooded, so they were ready to take on Trump when the first Tuesday in November came around.
The Dems could have put up someone else, though. There was Gavin Newsom, there were others who appeared.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They have absolutely comprehensively screwed the pooch. And the whole time they have been doing it, they have been doing it by accusing him of being a fascist and a threat to democracy.
Not
they
working.
have done it by trying to put him in jail.
Too obvious.
And now this guy is going to win. What do you reckon the payback's going to be like?
Exactly.
Yeah, and
that's what
he's
this
vowed
is.
he's always vowed to expose deep state.
He's not the kind of guy who turns the other cheek.
No.
Yeah, and in terms of exposing the Epstein client list, I think Julian Assange hit the nail on the head when he explained to everyone the reason why they won't reveal this list is because they've been building a dossier on the people on the list with which to blackmail them. They've been building this for decades. The same could be said of whatever we're about to find out about P. Diddy and the infamous celebrities and all the power players who attended his party.
Or as I like to say, P. Diddy, or didn't
Or
he?
didn't he? Yeah. And the other thing as well, I think it's worth noting, is when you go back to the 2016 campaign, the Democrats spent a lot more money on advertising than Donald Trump did.
That's right.
And he still got elected. I think they outstripped him by about 3 times in terms of advertising spend. But he got a lot more coverage than the Democrats did in the news because he was Donald Trump. So you know what? Keep giving your money to Kamala Harris, because something tells me it's not turning the dial all that much.